Seuss. At the far end of town where the grinkle grass grows and the wind smells slow and sour when it blows, and no birds ever sing except for old crows, lives the street of the lifted Lorax. Deep in the grinkle grass, some people say, if you look deep enough, you can still see today, where the Lorax once stood just as long as it could before somebody lifted the Lorax away. What was the Lorax? And why was it there? And why was it lifted and taken somewhere? From the far end of town where the grinkle grass grows. The Onceler still lives there. Ask him. He knows. You won't see the Onceler. Don't knock at his door. He stays in his lurkum on top of his store. He lurks in his lurkum, cold under the roof, where he makes his own clothes out of muffer muff. On special dank nights in August, he peeks out of his shutters, and sometimes he speaks and tells how the Lorax was lifted away. He'll tell you, perhaps, if you're willing to pay. On the end of a rope, he lets down a tin pail, and you have to toss in 15 cents and a nail and the shell of a great-great-grandfather's snail. And then he pulls up the pail and makes most careful count to see that you've paid him the proper amount. Then he hides what you've paid him away in his snub, a secret strange hole in his grubless glove. Then he grunts, I will call you by whisper my phone, for secrets I tell you are for your ears alone. Schlop, down schlops the whisper my phone to your ear, and the Onceler's whispers are not very clear. Since they've come down through a snargly hose, and he sounds as if he has smallish bees up his nose. Now I'll tell you, he says, with his teeth sounding gray, how the Lorax got lifted and taken away. It all started way back when, such a long time back. Way back in the days when the grass was still green, the pond was still wet, and the clouds were still clean. And the song of the swami swans rang out into space. One morning I came to this glorious place, and first saw the trees, the truffula trees, the bright-colored tufts of the truffula trees, mile after mile in the fresh morning breeze. And under the trees I saw brown barbaloots frisking about in their barbala suits, as they played in the shade and ate truffula fruits. From the rapturous pond came a comfortable sound of humming fish humming while splashing around. But those trees, those truffula trees, all my life I've been searching for trees such as these. The touch of their tufts was much softer than silk, and they had a sweet smell of fresh butterfly milk. I felt a great leaping of joy in my heart. I knew just what I'd do. I unloaded my cart. In no time at all, I had built a small shop. Then I chopped down a truffula tree with one chop. And with great skillful skill and great speedy speed, I took the soft tup and I knitted a thneed. The instant I'd finished, I heard a gazap. I looked. I saw something pop out of the stump of the tree I chopped down. It was a sort of a man. Describe him, that's hard. I don't know if I can. He was shortish and oldish and brownish and mossy, and he spoke with a voice that was sharpish and bossy. Mister, he said with a sawdusty sneeze, I'm the Lorax, I speak for the trees. I speak for the trees have no tongues, and I'm asking you, sir, from the top of my lungs. What? He was very upset as he shouted and puffed. What's that thing you've made of my truffula tuft? Look, Lorax, I said, there's no cause for alarm. I chopped just one tree. I'm doing no harm. I'm being quite useful. This thing is a thneed. A bicycle seats. The Lorax said, "Sir, you're crazy with greed. There's no one on earth would buy that fool Thneed." But the very next minute, I proved he was wrong, for just at that minute, a chap came along. He thought the Thneed I knitted was great, and he happily bought it for $3.98. I laughed at the Lorax. "You poor stupid guy, you never can tell what some people will buy." "I repeat," cried the Lorax, "I speak for the trees." "I'm busy," I told him. "Shut up, if you please." I rushed across the room. In no time at all, I built a radio phone and put in a quick call. I called all my brothers and uncles and aunts. I said, "Listen here. Here's a wonderful chance for the whole Onceler family to get mighty rich. Get over here fast. Take the road to North Nitch. Turn left at Wahawken, sharp right at South Stitch." And in no time at all, in the factory I built, the whole Onceler family was working full tilt. We were all knitting Thneeds just as busy as bees to the sound of the chopping of the truffula trees. Then, oh baby, oh, how my business did grow. Now chopping one tree at a time was too slow. So I quickly invented my super axe hacker, which whacked off 4 truffula trees at one smacker. We were making Thneeds 4 times as fast as before, and the Lorax, he didn't show up anymore. But the next week he knocked on my new office door. He snapped. "I'm the Lorax who speaks for the trees, which you seem to be chopping as fast as you please, but I'm also in charge of the brown barbaloots who play in the shade in their barbala suits and happily lived eating truffula fruits. Now, thanks to your hacking my trees to the ground, there's not enough truffula fruit to go round. My poor barbaloots are all getting the crummies because they have gas and no food in their tummies. They loved living here, but I can't let them stay. They'll have to find food, and I hope that they may. Good luck, boys," he cried as he sent them away. I, the Onceler, felt sad as I watched them all go. But business is business, and business must grow, regardless of crummies and tummies, you know. I meant no harm. I most truly did not. But I had to grow bigger, so bigger I got. I biggered my factories, I biggered my roads, I biggered my wagons, I biggered my loads. The Thneeds I shipped out, I was shipping them forth to the south, to the east, to the west, to the north. I went right on biggering, selling more Thneeds, and biggering my money, which everyone needs. Then again he came back. I was fixing some pipes when that old nuisance Lorax came back with more gripes. "I'm the Lorax," he coughed, and he whiffed, and he sneezed. He snuffled, he snarled and sniffed. "Onceler," he cried with a crofulous croak, "Onceler, you're making such smog and a smoke. My poor swammy swans, why they can't sing a note. No one can sing who has smog in his throat." "And so," said the Lorax, "please pardon my cough. They cannot live here, so I'm sending them off. Where will they go? I don't hopefully know. They may have to fly for a month or a year to escape the smog you've smogged up around here." "What's more," snapped the Lorax, his dander was up, "let me say a few words about Gluppity-Glup. Your machinery chugs on day and night without stop. You're making Gluppity-Glup, also Schloppity-Schlop. And what do you do with this leftover goo? I'll show you, you dirty old Onceler man, you. You're glupping the pond where the hummingfish hummed. No more can they hum, for their gills are all gummed. So I'm sending them off, oh their future is dreary. They'll walk on their fins and get woefully weary in search of some water that isn't so smeary. And And then I got mad. I got terribly mad. I yelled at the Lorax. Now listen here, Dad. All you do is yap, yap, and say bad, 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 bad. Well, I have my rights, sir, and I'm telling you, I intend to go on doing just what I do. And for your information, you Lorax, I'm figuring on biggering and biggering and biggering and biggering. Turning more truffula trees into thnees, which everyone needs. And at that very moment, we heard a loud whack. From outside in the fields came a sickening smack of an axe on a tree when we heard the tree fall, the very last truffula tree of them all. No more trees, no more thieves, no more work to be done. So in no time, my uncles and aunts, everyone, all waved me goodbye. They just jumped into my cars and drove away under the smoke-smothered stars. Now all that was left neath the bad-smelling sky was my big empty factory, the Lorax and I. The Lorax said nothing, just gave me a glance, just gave me a very sad backwards glance, as he lifted himself by the seat of his pants. And I'll never forget the grim look on his face when he hoisted himself and took leave of this place, through a hole in the smog without leaving a trace. And all that the Lorax left here in this mess was a small pile of rocks with one word, unless. Whatever that meant, well, I just couldn't guess. That was long, long ago, but each day since that day, I've sat here and worried away. Through all the years while my buildings have fallen apart, I've worried about it with all of my heart. But now, says the Munsler, now that you're here, the word of the Lorax seems perfectly clear. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, it's not going to get better. It's not. So, catch, calls the Munsler. He lets something fall. It's a truffula seed. It's the last one of all. You're in charge of the last of the truffula seeds, and the truffula trees are what everyone needs. Plant a new truffula, treat it with care, give it clean water and feed it fresh air. Grow a forest, protect it from axes that hack. Then the Lorax and all of his friends may come back.